Well, you know, you got to do them when they win. You got to do them when they lose, right? That was, I mean, you basically get gifted 10 points. You go out, you score 3. I was shocked they didn't go for it on the 4th down where they kicked the field goal in the first drive, because you go for it. You know, then you put your kicker out there. He kicks the 51-yarder. He hits it. So I figured they would go. It was 4th and 3. They didn't go. And from there, you know, the defense just – I was just losing my mind watching these guys get free releases all fucking game. It's like, okay, I understand you're afraid to get beat over the top. That's fine. But you know what? You can't let them run for fun underneath either. And 2 differences in the game. We kick field goals. They score touchdowns. Their guys closed and finished on Allen. Our guys closed and didn't finish on fucking Mahomes. There was 2 or 3 times. One, Milano, I know for a fact. And then Epinesa could not get him to the ground. Could not get him to the ground. And that was I understand you want to play close. You didn't want to let the game get out of hand, but still there was a couple of chances there, and we're gonna play that. We're gonna play that card back a million times. But they were getting mugged out there. The receivers were getting mugged. They showed the pull away view, and those receivers. I mean, you guys saw it. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. How many wide open receivers did you see out there for Allen to throw? I mean, there was nothing. There was nothing open. He was running for his life. Had the force balls in the tight windows all fucking game long. It was crazy. There was no rest. Everything KC did looked so easy. Everything KC was doing just looked very easy. The yards looked easy. Everything we did was very labored, very stressed. Every blade of grass was earned. Everyone. There was a couple of times, you know, I saw, you know, there was grass, but there's a KC guy. The one where Devin Singletary dropped. Man, if he catches that ball, maybe he makes Matthew miss. He's running, and he drops it. The one interception Allen throws, it's a tight window throw. It's tough. It's just a game of so many missed opportunities, man. The second quarter is going to be the quarter where you lose the season. You know, I can't, you know, everybody's going to want to ride McDermott today, you know, but everybody's going to want to ride him. But you know what? We're not here without him. We're not here without Allen. They played like overall, they just did not play well. They just did not play well. You know, that I'm not going to, just within the context of the game, forget the coaching. They scored touchdowns. We kicked field goals. And those were 4th down calls. They scored touchdowns. They didn't go for it on 4th down. They just scored within their downs. And they got the sacks on Allen when they needed to. He was trying to make plays. And I know everybody's going to want to talk about the elephant in the room. KC was taking cheap shots all fucking game long. It started off and right off the rip, fucking uncalled fucking headshot from Chris Jones to Feliciano, not a call. On the very next play, here comes I think it was Breland, who basically suplex City's Diggs. The ref stands there, kind of hangs out and says, well, should I throw a flag? Should I throw a flag? Or then he finally throws the flag. You know, they've got to learn from this. You know, it's a process. They got to learn from this. Not everybody goes into Shangri-La. You know, you go in there and they just, it did seem like the moment was too big, but just that second quarter. And let's be real, the defense couldn't get a stop. The defense couldn't get a stop. The defense could not get a stop. You know, the defense could not get a stop at all, man. The defense couldn't make a tackle when they had it. They had some catch and runs from Hill, that were just devastating. They got lucky on the first drive when he dropped that one, but some of those catches and runs, man, you can't give those up. That's what I'm saying. These little fuckers, you got to jam them up. Kelsey, you got to chip him, you got to chuck him, you got to do something. You just can't let this guy run, turn around, and then once Mahomes starts scrambling around, it's a fire drill, and the fucking guy's gonna get open. He's too big. Nobody can cover him. They're a special team, and they got special talents. So they're there for a reason. So the Bills didn't go out against no scrub team, but there was some nasty, dirty shots out there. There was some there was some dirty shots out there all game, and there was some late hits on Allen that weren't called. There was some stuff in between the downs that were happening that I saw. Guys with hands up in the face to the linemen, guys, clubbing blows to the side of the helmets, everything that you could think of. And they were letting them play out there. They were playing. They weren't calling anything. And once it got late, you saw what happened. First, it started. Diggs went off. I believe it was on Fenton. He lost his shit on Fenton. And it's because they were just mugging them all game. They were just boom, boom, boom. They just wouldn't throw a flag. They threw one flag on Beasley that extended to a first down late in the second quarter, I believe. Outside of that, they just let them play because they didn't really call any pass interference on the Bills. They called the one in the end zone on White. What's he gonna do? Kelsey is who he is. He's pushing you back. Your just instinct is to push him back. There's really nothing you can do. It's just a huge disappointment. It was just a huge disappointment. And they gotta learn. They gotta learn from this. They can't. I just hated to see it end like that. I just really did. I really hated to see it end like that because they've had a great season, and those guys were not getting open because they couldn't get open. They were just getting fucking mugged. But that second quarter was the quarter that changed the game. They scored 21 straight, and the Bills had, I think there were 3 straight 3-and-outs there. Couldn't even get a first down, and you can't do that against that team. You know what's going to happen. You got to go score. You can't count on stopping them up the way the defense did. You can't play 2-shell, soft zone, and just say, well, I hope they miss some stuff underneath, or we can get pressure with 4. Fuck it. You have to when you play that team, you have to go out on your shield and say, we're going to go after them. Fuck it. If they beat us, they beat us, but we're not going to let them dink and dunk us to death. And then if they catch and run and they miss a tackle, they're fucked. You're fucked anyway, so you may as well play rough. They were beat up. The defense had issues all game. And when your offense isn't putting drives together, it gets even harder because you're going back out on the field. You can't get anything fixed. You can't talk about it. There's no time in between series because you're right back out on the field. But that's what this game amounted to for the Bills. I mean, I can't say I saw any positive things. I mean, Bass, and when Bass misses that PAT, I know it doesn't seem like much, but it changes the whole complexion because at the end, you're trying to go for 2. If he hits that PAT and then you hit the other PAT, it's 23. Was it 23-31 or 38 at that point? So okay, you're still 2-score game. You recover that fucking onside kick. You go down and score. It changes the complexion of the game. But I can't say anything. The kid made 2 amazing kicks from 51 yards. He fucking hit 2 beautiful balls. One was recovered onside kick. I mean, he might be the best onside kicker in the fucking league because some of those balls hops at the end were like, I don't see other kickers doing that shit. It was Allen played his ass off. This is who he is, guys. He's gonna just keep playing to the whistle, through the whistle. He had some jailbreak blitzes he didn't see. Um, the Clark one, he was beat. Williams just got beat clean. He didn't see that. Taking some of those sacks, trying to fight for extra downs. I mean, that's just who the guy is, man. He's a fucking competitor, and he's a competitor, and that's what he's gonna do. He's not gonna Trent Edwards it and take the sack. There was some missed throws out there. There was a few high ones I noticed early. That second quarter, that's the quarter, man. That's the quarter. The second quarter was it. They're gonna be upset. That's fine. I don't. If they wanna say what they're gonna say, but you know what, they were watching this game at home, so that's fine. They were put there by the Bills. The O-line, yeah, they that was frustrating. Two things by the coaching staff that really frustrated me. I can start with McDermott. You know what? You got to score touchdowns. You got to score touchdowns. I think if you're aggressive on the first drive of the game from the 50, why don't you aggressive inside the 10-yard line? You know what? Fuck it. You got to go. You got to go. And then the defense had no answers. Their guys put Allen on the ground. Our guys didn't put Mahomes on the ground. And they turned into, both of them turned into big plays. They both turned into I think the one that Milano missed continued to drive, and then the one Epinesa missed turned into a really big play, 20-plus yard play. So you have that from the defense, no adjustments. And on offense, they had no answers for the blitz, nothing. They're blitzing, they're coming, and there was just no answers for it. There was no answers for it, and to have, I was not mad. I was not mad at Feliciano and Dawkins late in that game. We all saw Feliciano take a clear headshot from Jones, straight ass off the head. It's like last week, everybody bitched about Sorensen with Higgins at the goal line. I thought that was a bang, bang play. Man, you're in between the goal line. He's trying to score. You're doing what you can to not let him score. That, to me, that's what football is. It's one-on-one. Like today, when Poyer sniffed out that one play with Williams, that was a helmet-to-helmet hit, and he stopped Williams cold. The refs just let it go. This league is full of bang, bang plays. So it's it's all right. You got a kid in here. He's gonna talk his crap. It's all right. I took care of him. He's not gonna be seen anymore. But I don't want to say it's rigged. I don't think it's rigged. I mean, guys are out there trying to make plays. Yeah. That was the most frustrating thing, is this guys were playing back so far, and I would much rather them have been pressing, trying, if they get over the top of you, fine, but you just can't let guys have free releases, and they're 4-2 guys, and they're just going to run past you. It was rough across the board. What receiver had a big game? Knox underneath. But with Diggs, I mean, he had the one big catch late. They were just, man, there was a lot of contact in that secondary. That's all I'll say. There was a lot of contact. And they are the better team. And it's just hard to defend in terms of their, like you said, the speed. That they do so many things. But the second quarter, and it was how quick they scored. They scored, you're up 9-0, and they scored 2 touchdowns, 4 minutes, and it's gone, and you never get it back. And you can't go 3-and-out against this team. You can't let them have short fields. Your defense has to be able to get home on Mahomes. You know, you look at the teams that give them trouble, and there's not many because they haven't lost many games. It's like last week, you know, they had Garrett. Myles Garrett got home on Mahomes a few times. He got home on Henny a few times, once I believe, and that's what it comes down to. You have to be able to close out a sack. You have to put a quarterback on the ground. Does this hurt? I mean, they all hurt, man. This was a game to get to the game. It hurts. You know, it hurts. It just feels like they just you know, they just once the 9-0 lead was gone, they just didn't know what to do. You know, there's always going to be a little, you know, a keyboard warrior, and you know, some little punk that's gonna, you know, come in here and say something. That's fine. That's what he's doing with his free time. So take it as a form of flattery. Like if anybody comes in here and talks, you can laugh because you know what? It's funny. Cry, bro, because that's what, you know, that's normal. You know, I feel like I want to fucking bawl my eyes out, but you know, I know Bean will do a lot of work. Bean's not going to sit on this. He's not going to rest, and that's why I told you guys, you know, you want defense in the draft, whatever in the draft, you got to go. You add Diggs. Guess what? In this draft, or however you slice it up, you go get another weapon for Allen. That's what you do. You saw what KC did. He didn't play much in this game. He didn't have an impact, but they went and got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The year before, they went and got Nicole Hardman. You know, you just put speed on the field because speed kills. Speed fucking kills. And if the Bills do anything to this offense, I want to see them add a guy that takes a zone from 20 to 30 to 40 like that. He don't need the fucking, you know, Allen's got the arm to get it there, and you know the Bills have the guys underneath to fucking fill those zones. Diggs, Beasley, Davis, who's gonna be a fucking hell of a receiver. A hell of a receiver. I think Knox is gonna turn a corner next year. I really, really do. It just really sucks, man. This just really sucks. I love this fucking team. I love this fucking team so much. Fuck. Oh, man. This really sucks. I just didn't like, you know, it felt lost after that. That's what the thing that hurts the worst. It just felt lost after the second quarter. You know, and the defense couldn't find answers, and the offense couldn't stay on the field, and that you know, it changes the tenor of the game. You know, you have to play close with them. If not with a lead, you got to play. You can't let them get up multiple scores, even if it's just 10, because then you're just stressed all the time. You know, that's the frustrating part about it, man. It's just, it was too fucking, and then, you know, I only one, you know, silver lining, maybe like comforting thing at the end is the way all the linemen came to Josh's defense late. You know, they weren't going to have that shit. He threw the ball in Okafor's face. Fuck him. Chris Jones can say what he wants. Fuck him. He's a piece of shit. You know, Andy Reid's a fat fuck who, you know, his son was trailing. Well, his son is dead now, but he was trailing up and down the fucking New Jersey Turnpike between AC to Philly, ripped off his ass on heroin, even after he got him a job with Philly, but he couldn't stay fucking clean. I mean, I always, you know, he's a great play caller, but undisciplined, fat, needed, like, I mean, I'm going off on a tangent, but he needed stomach, you know, his fucking stomach cut in half to lose weight. But you know what? That's why, like, I don't, you know, I'll just be nasty for a minute. But you can't. The field goals were terrible, Thomas. You can't kick the field goals. I would, you say you leave your offense on the field, you go, and if you don't score, you don't score. Fuck it. But you got to come away with 6s and 7s, not fucking 3s. You can't do it. And I know, it's tough. It's tough. Well, when he's traveling with a gun and doing all the other shit that he did. Some people aren't too. They're just because they're in the NFL doesn't make them good people. Like Tyreek Hill said, you ought to fear me too, talking about his son and his girlfriend. I have no idea. Well, the defensive coordinator thing, he had to take over for Jim Johnson. He wasn't ready. Jim Johnson passed. And I don't wish anybody death. I mean, Tony Dungy's son committed suicide. It's a tragedy. You never know what's going on in people's lives. And God, you know who took over for the defensive coordinator? Juan Castillo. Remember him? And he just didn't last long. And I think Reed ended up leaving Philly, but he's a great play caller. They have a very good team. Mahomes, I mean, I didn't realize it, but I should have. 3 straight years in this game. He, at home, and I think the other time that they said it, Mahomes, and no, it wasn't Mahomes. It was Andy Reid in Philly with Donovan McNabb. They were the first team to get 3 straight times. So it's just no answers for the blitz, Bowman. No answers for the blitz. No answers for the blitz. I'm going to be petty for a minute. It's been a long season. They're a good team. They have great players. And their defensive plan was good. Why should they stop blitzing if the Bills didn't have answers? It was just frustrating because the Bills couldn't, come on, you got to have answers, man. You have a halftime, you got to figure it out. And they just couldn't execute. They couldn't execute. And it just, everything, like I said, from the start, everything, you guys will get this too when you watch the game, everything that they did looked stressed, man. It looked like hard. Every blade of grass was hard. Nothing was easy tonight. There was no pitch and catch. There was no, easy yards. Everything looked hard. And everything that KC did looked easy. It looked easy. Once they got going, you have Hall of Fame, play caller. You have Hall of Fame tight end. You have, the best quarterback in the league. And then you have speed to burn it. That was my biggest thing, is why weren't they chucking these receivers? I mean, Matt, Mr. Matt, you're playing against the best teams in the playoffs. There's no cupcakes. There's no easy outs. You're not going to, run up the score on people in the playoffs. It's tough, man. It's tough. You're playing the creme de la creme. This is the best team in the league, KC. They were the first seed for a reason. They beat the Bills earlier in the season for, a reason. They're the defending Super Bowl champs for a reason. So it's like you're not going to get shit handed to you. You're going to play. If the Bills were going to win this game, it was going to be close. Questionable last game because of, maybe a lack of running a little bit. This game, it just seemed like there was no rhythm. There was no rhythm. The first drive, to be honest with you, looked like the best, and they ended up kicking, the 3 points. They get the ball back after they force KC to punt. They score on the first play with Knox, and you miss that PAT, and it's just like, oh man, you go up 10-0, but KC's been there. They've been down. What was it? They were down by against Houston. What was it? 24 to whatever. 24 to. They've been there. I don't know if they lose Frazier now. I'll get to some of the comments. I went off on a stupid little tangent before, like a child. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the momentum in this game could have been had at 10-0, and then if you force them to score, they score a touchdown, or you try to give up 3. That's fine. But the Bills had to stay on the field offensively, and they couldn't do it. They just could not stay off the field. Like Eric says, the receivers were smothered. They were just smothered all game. Davis not being healthy really, really showed out there. But just, man, the speed that you see what speed does, guys. And That's why I'm going to pound the table for whatever Bean decides to do. You know, you got to put more speed on the field offensively. You've got to put more speed on the field offensively. Yeah, we looked better in week 6, but the offense they played they didn't play as good a game. They didn't get any gifts. The Bills got a gift tonight. You know, that fumble punt at the 30, man. At the 30, the 1 yard line. You know, you punch it in, and at least now they take the jerseys 57. I didn't know they did that. Yeah, the defense, no answers, because you got to stay on the field. You can't stress them to get 3-and-outs against this team. You can't do it. You just can't. And then they started hitting those big plays. I mean, the reverse to Hardman. There was the one catch and run by there was a couple of catch and runs by Hill that were they're backbreakers. And I believe they were on 3rd down too. They were just backbreakers. I mean, they got the ball first after the quarter, at the end of the second quarter. And you know what? You know what's crazy? I think if McDermott would have gotten the ball coming out of the half, he would have gone for it on that 4th down before the half ended. I really think he would have. It's weird to say, but I just think he would have. Field goals, yeah. I mean, he's been aggressive all year. I mean, he was trying to keep it close. I get it, but still, you got to score touchdowns. I don't like the mask Andy Reid wears. It looks like a cone on his face. I'm just like, wear the flat one, dude. At least he wasn't. Was he wearing the visor? If he was, tell me, but I didn't see it. But then again, it's clear. Yeah. I mean, they have plenty of speed defensively, but they just couldn't get Milano had Mahomes, couldn't take him down. I mean, Epinesa bites, doesn't get him to the ground. Red zone offense was bad. You know, and if you're going against, what was it, the 32nd ranked red zone defense, you got to try to test them. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but man, you'd like to have those opportunities back. For Hussein, I don't mind losing Frazier, love the guy, but this defense needs a change. Playing safeties, no adjust. I mean, yeah, man, that was my one trip. That's my one big gripe, is not chucking these receivers. You know, you got to be physical with them. They're small guys. They're not go up and get it guys. They're fast as shit. I mean, you can't play scared. If they're going to beat you, they're going to beat you. Chances are they might beat you anyway, but man, you got to go out aggressive against them. You can't, you know, our defensive line, but too small to contain a traditional running back. I mean, that kind of seems like the truth, Bowman. I can't lie. I mean, red zone, yep, terrible. Matt Bags, terrible offense. If they could add one thing to this defense, it needs to be a premier pass rusher. That's the one thing, and a big body inside on defense on the line. That's be the one thing I add. KC got home all 3 games. Edmund got tricked. Yeah, he got tricked bad on that one. I think it was to Hill. He looked him off, and it was a catch and run from hell. I had a bad feeling when the missed extra point happened. That's when I had a bad feeling. I don't know why. I just was like, I don't like missing that. Something that is not right. Yeah, no answers for the blitz. And if they don't respect your run, it's like they're not going to run anyway. They're such a pass-heavy team. And you know what? Singletary's a nice back, but he's not going to kill you. What's up, Neil? Sucks, man. Yeah, not having Moss hurt. I mean, you need a back that can get you good, you know, get you some chunk plays. You know, Singletary's a nice player, but, you know, you could do better there. You know, this defense, it really cleaned up its work, you know, on the second half of the year. You know, they played really, really well. I mean, last week was amazing. This week was trash, but that's the nature of the NFL. I don't know if he plays next year. Maybe he plays. We'll see how that goes, because apparently the rules are going to stay in place. Oates, I don't like our quarter zone. We run, works against inefficient teams, but makes mistakes against great teams. I mean, yeah, they're going to have to trade, you know, figure out. What's up, Andy? How you doing, bro? Yeah, they're gonna have to figure that out because they're gonna have to change it up against a team like this because you can't go in with the same game plan and expect anything different. I mean, they did the same thing. They defended a run better, but KC didn't try to run tonight. They ran when they had to or they wanted to like just mix it in, but they didn't try. They didn't try to run. That's one. Yeah, the drop by Singletary really hurt. I don't know if it was who was on the call with Romo. Nance, was it Nance? He said he was going to get 4 yards. I'm like, dude, if he catches that, he was going to get like 10 or 15. And if he made Matthew miss, he was going to get a hell of a lot more than that. You gotta have to, man. He's a good player. The defense is so much better with him on the field. I mean, everybody's going to want to make strong opinions, and I'm going to make strong opinions. I'm going to talk like a douchebag, an asshole a little bit. You know, emotions are running high, but you know, this team won, you know, Hail Mary 6 games this year, 15 games, you know, lost 4. I mean, you know, it's hard to get mad, but it is easy to get mad. It's such a, you know, such a gamut of emotions. You wish you were healthy, but you know how the league is. The league is just it's a war of attrition league. There's injuries all over the place. You never know who's going to get hurt. You just know how you build your team, and you know this team has done an excellent job of keeping it guys healthy and playing as best as they could. I mean, the Bills. What was the Bills' story going into the week? Davis. I mean, he was a bit of a non-factor tonight. I mean, he's going to be a really good receiver in this league, I think. You know, I think he's going to be a really good receiver in this league. He had a hell of a year. You know, Diggs, I didn't watch that. Eric, I just turned it off after the final kneel down. I don't even know I watched that. I just turned it off. You know, I just didn't like the single. I just don't like leaving. You know, I just didn't like the idea of leaving Kelsey alone. You had to over under him, bracket him. You can't let him beat you because that's where Mahomes' eyes go to. If he goes off his spot, they go to Kelsey. You know, Beasley was about the most consistent. Him, Knox. I mean, there was a couple of catches late from Diggs that were nice. It just, yeah. I mean, I think they lost Fisher to a torn Achilles tonight, but it was getting really nasty out there. You know, there was some shots. There was a lot of stuff happening. You know, in between the whistle, in between downs, and you know, if you go back and watch the game, you'll see it. There was a lot of headshots, a lot of underneath the linemen's chins, a lot of grabbing and tugging in the secondary, and you saw Diggs just lose his shit at the end there. You know, it just really sucks. You know, and that's got to change. You know, the trouble with the tight ends. You know, was it 91 catches, and then you give up, was it 11, 12 to Kelsey today? Kills you. I mean, that lollipop pass at the end for the touchdown. I mean, dude, like when you're on defense, and I know it's a responsibility-based defense, you should have one guy that just watches that guy, shadow him wherever he goes. You go. Don't leave his side. Yeah, Neil, there's no other way to slice it. 38 points is not going to get it done. You give up mid-20s and pray that you're going to score high 20s or low 30s. And that was just not, you know, a good enough effort tonight at all. At all, you know. Nah, the safeties are fine. Those two are really, really good, man. Those two, I mean, Poyer got screwed out of a Pro Bowl. Hyde's a pro's pro. You know, it's just a difference. I just think they need to change. Yeah, just the speed. It's the speed. And then playing back. You're already playing back, and then they start running downhill at you. That's why I say you have to chuck these guys. You can't, yeah, the headshot was nasty, Matt. It was nasty. And you saw, if you saw, Feliciano was kind of woozy. He got clubbed pretty hard. I mean, you got a 350-pound guy hitting you in the face. This shit hurts, man. I mean, I've never had a man that big hit me in the head, but I can imagine that I would not be in good shape afterwards. And I'm not near as big as John Feliciano is. But that, I mean, that's what we saw kind of boil over at the end. There was a lot of stuff going on. And I was noticing it, and I'm like, man, they're letting these guys play. And then they showed the graphic. There was only 2 penalties on each team. And I'm like, damn. I mean, how do we stop these tight ends? You got to change up your look. You got to change up something that they're doing. You know, it's the Bills' defense is, you know, we'll live with field goals. We don't want to give up touchdowns. You know, that's just their defense. You know, and we can't complain. We've seen a pretty damn good defense from this team for the most part for 4 seasons. You know, consistent. They've been consistent. You know, they don't do anything exceptionally well, but they're, you know, they need some upgrades, of course. You know, not having Star in the middle hurt. I guess if you're going to look to upgrade a spot, you know, maybe another big body in the middle and a corner. That would be my guess. But you hope Epinesa develops. You hope Epinesa develops a lot. McKenzie's kind of a gadget guy. It was just crazy that they couldn't figure out a way to stop the blitz. And I thought McKenzie would do that. You know, if they ran some of the jet sweep motion, if they just did something to get KC looking different directions, different ways, and they just didn't do it. They were just kind of stationary, stagnant, you know, shotgun, just ran plays. There was a little bit of, you know, nothing, you know, not a lot of eye candy, you know, like what KC does with, you know, when you see fucking Hill sweep around in the backfield, 10 times out of 10, they're just getting the defense to react to that. Just like when they threw the short 4th down pass to Williams that looked like last week's play. All it was is, here, look at Hill, and we're just going to just dink it to the guy who just runs and ships. That's all it is. It's not a hard play. Well, you know, I mean, you got one ball, you got a lot of players, man. One ball, a lot of players, but you saw what a tight end can do for your offense. I mean, shit, like so many of you put in the room, tight ends have killed us all year. So I think the Bills really need to, you know, figure out or really get a good gauge of what Knox is, and, you know, try to go from there. You know, add another guy. I think you got to add another guy. You're not bringing back Croft. Lee Smith is probably going to retire. So you've got to bring in another young guy. So what am I talking about? Tommy Sweeney will be back next year. And I know we all liked what we saw last year from him in that Jet game, week 17. So, yeah, I mean, there's no other way to put it. Hussein out-coached. They got outplayed. There's no other way around it. They just didn't have an answer for the speed on offense. They didn't have an answer for the blitz. They if I go back and look at the 3-and-outs, I think it was 3 or 4 straight 3-and-outs, and then they were just not finishing their drives. You can't kick. You know, we've all said it. You can't kick field goals and let them score touchdowns. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. You know, it was just tough. It was just tough across the board. You know, and they've been playing him a lot. You know, and that was something I noticed late. You put it in, Bowman. Bean looked chill up there. I think, you know, he knew the team was going to lose, and I think, you know, he's already in his mind thinking about what do I need to do to make this team better? What do I need to do? And you know what he's going to do. Number 17 is his baby. Number 17 is his baby. That's the guy. He's going to be like, how do I protect him better? How do I make it easier for him? How do we you look at what KC's offense looks like with speed. What did you see other teams try to do with this offseason? Teams went out and added Ruggs, right? They jumped on that early. They went out and, you know, overdrafted some guys. You know, you've seen guys get overdrafted because of speed and it not be good, but you don't want to do that either. But you do want to add speed. That's one thing I think our offense really lacks is a real, you know, McKenzie's more shifty speed. We're talking about just grease lightning in a bottle type of speed. What's up, Justin? How you doing, man? Yeah, that could have worked. I mean, I was kind of shocked that they didn't actually. There was a couple of the second down plays in particular before they got to third. I was shocked we didn't see any Allen runs. Um, Jags fan, the field goals, yeah, they just didn't beat the Chiefs, man. That's for sure. Um, yeah, I was worried, man. Um, I hope you know I hope he he takes care of his body this offseason and just rests up and heals as best he can. I was really worried on that one run where you saw him get bent back. I thought he hurt his knee really bad, and he got up because he was holding his leg. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit. And another thing on offense next year, I'd like to see. I just don't like our short yardage offense. Every time we're in fourth and short, a third and short, second and short, and I know we do a lot of the Allen sneaks. We just never move the pile. We never muscle people off the ball and move the line, and I just don't like that. He's not fast anymore, Damager. He's not what he used to be. Yeah, I think that's about right, Eric. I think you release Brown. You got his money. Um, I think you're gonna have to seriously resign Milano. We've seen the defense with him and without him, and I think you're really gonna have to seriously, sign him because he makes the defense palpably better. Um, I think Starr comes back next year. Um, given the Bills, the way they handled this, they didn't have no crazy outbreaks. No guys were, hurt because of it. There was no crazy stuff going on in the building where you heard of all this crazy stuff like what was happening in other places. So I think Starr will be back next year. Um, yeah, but look, I think this team's got a lot of players in the building already that are going to help them next year. And I could rattle off a few right now. I think Epinesa will be a better player. I didn't know this, so I watched an interview with him. They asked him to lose, like after they drafted him, they asked him to lose like basically 30 pounds. So he went to the combine weighing like almost 280, and they said we want our defensive ends to be 250. So for a guy's body comp to change like that, you know, yeah, but probably he's better than your quarterback, dude. Yeah, the run game, Matt's too inconsistent. I didn't like it. We forget about guys, and I forget about him too. Dane Jackson's going to be a starting corner on this team next year. Guarantee it. That kid came out, and every time I seen him play, the moment wasn't too big for him. He was physical. He tackles well. He competes. So I would, I think he'll be on the field a lot next year. Um, that was a hell of a draft class by Bean. I mean, I think that the draft class it was really good. Um, and so I really trust that he'll be able to augment this team in the right way. Um, yeah, it's touch and go right now, Bowman. Who knows, man? They're gonna have to figure it out because if you're still carrying his cap and he's choosing not to play, they're gonna have to figure out something with the union because you can't keep carrying a guy's cap. He's not playing. Do you still have his money? Do you not have his money? So that's where the problem lies. Um, you know, yeah, I said the same thing. Midnight. I think you're going to get some guys that want to come to the Bills now that probably wouldn't have come in years past. J.J. Watt is a guy I think would come to the Bills 100% for not a lot of money. Yeah, I didn't see him in there, man. I really didn't see him in there. And another thing that we saw, Yeldon's a hell of a receiver. I think that guy should just switch to wide receiver because he's a weapon. I think underutilized. I would have used him more all year. Teron Johnson played great. I mean, he got burned a couple of times tonight by Hill, but Hill is fucking Hill. He's fast as shit, man. There's not many guys that can stay with. There's probably no guys in the league that stay with him running across the field. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to have the balance. Oliver was hurt, banged up in the beginning of the year, didn't get healthy till the second half of the year. I mean, he was inconsistent. What do you think the primary strength of our team is? Josh Allen. And I think we have a really strong foundation in terms of coach, GM, quarterback. Bills went to the AFC Championship game for the first time in 27 years. This is going to be their 5th year together building this. And yeah, I really think that they're, I think they're willing to learn from their mistakes. I think we've seen it we've definitely seen it with McDermott. He's willing to learn from his mistakes. He's willing to change. He's not a hard head. Bean, will always say he'll never let Allen not have an offensive line, not have weapons, adding Diggs. I think he's going to just really just take a step back, and that's what you do. We're take a step back from football, and just really assess what he needs to do. Take a few weeks, relax, reassess this. And they do this. They review themselves. They review Daboll. They review themselves. They're going to want to be a little bit more balanced next year. I think a little bit more balanced. It's not that I don't like that they don't run. The one part of their running game, there's 2 things I don't like. They don't have a guy that's a threat to just pop it for 25, 30, and they just seem to not have. And Moss was this, just the short yardage, the third and half a yard, the second and short. Just like I want a guy like, and it wasn't just the running back, it was the line. The line, finally calmed down with Butker, Morse, and Feliciano, but that interior, was moved around so much, and yeah, they got to figure it out, Matt. They got to figure it out. I think Allen will be fine. And we remember they tried. They were one of the teams that were in on Le'Veon Bell, who didn't play. He ended up signing with KC. Yeah, Roscoe Parrish, of course. Nah, those I think didn't those guys sign long-term deals? I think they did, Damager. I'm not sure if they were just. Travis Henry would fumble, man. He was a fumbling case. God, short yardage guy that was really, really good. Fred was good in short yardage, I'd say. Thurman was excellent in short yardage. He would just go like low as shit and just squirt through the other side. Yeah, because there was no threat of the run. I mean, they really just kind of just went crazy. Is he? He's probably still in prison. I know he had a bunch of kids. I know he had a lot of children. Like McGahee had a lot of children in Buffalo. Rob Riddick, Larry Kinborough, Kim DeBurrow, if you remember him. Kenny was great. I don't know how many touchdowns he stole from Thurman because they didn't want Thurman banging in with all the bodies down low, so they would put in Antoine Smith. I remember one time he ran over a Raider. I believe it was the 97 season. He just ran him over. I don't remember the guy's name he ran over, but he ran him over. But in terms of speed, that would be great. If they could add a Lee Evans tomorrow, that would be awesome. But those guys aren't easy to find, man. They'll find one this offseason, though. I'm very confident I'm confident that he'll go out there and really be strong-minded about this and not, he's not going to want this to be their last trip back. And let's be honest, everybody's going through changes in the AFC. KC will go through changes. They'll lose people. They'll have to re-sign people. People will want more money. No, he was terrible. Terrible in short yardage. Trade for DK Metcalf. No, that's definitely not going to happen. But they have to they have to get there's just a little something missing on offense, a little something. And I think it's that blowtorch, that vapor trail. That's definitely what's missing. But you know, it was a really, really great season. It's a shame that it had to come to an end like that. It really, really hurts. You know, I don't even know how I'm gonna do these. I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna do them. You know, like I want to do them, but I don't. What do I come on and maybe when they have some, coach, if they have like some staff changes or definitely free agency draft, I'll do it. But they're harder to do. They're harder to do. You know, yeah, and these opportunities they're not guaranteed. Just because you go doesn't mean you're guaranteed to go next year. You just hope this team does what it does and just says, they come back with a fire and a determination and just want to, and get back in it. I just really hurts that they weren't able to get a bye like the normal 2 seed would get a bye, and then you play a game, and then instead you're playing 3 games, so it's like it doesn't matter. I think that if you're the 2 seed, you should get the extra bye. That's just my opinion, but I mean, I don't know about the free agency class. I don't know how much money they're going to be willing to spend. I think there's guys inside the building that can help them right now that just need to develop. I think Epinesa will be a better player. Like I was saying, you ask a guy to take 30 pounds off his frame and just relearn, how to use his body and stuff. That's difficult. Then you're asking him to play NFL football with no off season, basically no strength and conditioning program, nothing. That's a completely different animal. And he had some flashes. Um, Dane Jackson, I think, is a baller. I loved everything I saw from that kid. I think a lot of you agree with me. He's a little old for my taste. I mean, he's tough, physical, but Ingram is kind of like I'm not into paying old running backs. I think you can find, like, look, Darrell Williams for the Chiefs, undrafted running back. Go find you a Darrell Williams. Oh, I'm a big fan of undrafted people. The combine is shot. I don't know. The Senior Bowl is gonna be played this weekend. I think the players came to Mobile, so I think they're just gonna play the football game as normal. Yeah, I think JJ Watt will be a Bill next year. I just think he'll be a Bill. He fits everything that they look for in a player. I think he could help them at that position. I think he adds an element of competitiveness, professionalism. He can still play, that's for sure. And I think he's highly motivated to play for something, and he just wants to come to a place that focuses on football and none of the outside BS. And we now have a place that players can do that. So I think he'll be a Bill. I just don't think he'll he'll be very picky about where he goes. And now you have Green Bay. I mean, they have Rodgers, but are they going to keep Rodgers now? Or are they going to switch to Love? Who knows? I don't know. I just don't think they're going to have it. They're just going to do the pro days. They're just going to do pro days. Is there any backs in the draft? The draft is weird, man. With running backs, the draft is like, just don't draft them in the first few rounds. That's it. That's all I care about. Once you get into the 3rd and 4th, you can go ahead. I don't care, but just don't draft them in the first 2. Just have no desire to draft a running back. Yeah, there's Antonio Williams. See, there's a Williams running back that I remember that, man, would that kid have been special if he would have had his head on straight? Maybe if Sean McDermott was the coach. But, man, Carlos Williams could have been a player for this team for a really long time. Could have been a really, really special player for this team for a really long time. The guy scored touchdowns. He caught the ball well. He was big, and, man, it just really sucks that he, couldn't keep it on straight. Really, really sucks because, time goes by quick. 7 years. 7 years, man. Like that, it's just crazy. But they can find people. They can find people, and I think Bean. I mean, I know Bean will do it. Bean. I trust him. That's one thing I can say is we can't disagree on is that the management has earned our trust. They've earned our trust. Short of Super Bowl, short of Super Bowl, right? They've delivered everything that they said that they would deliver. They would bring the team back to prominence. They would get a franchise quarterback. They would be respectable. They would be competitive, and they would win. And they would turn Buffalo into a place people want to come. I believe that they've done all of those things across the board. I think he plays in the Canadian Football League, Damager. I think he plays in somewhere in Canada. You know, just not a fan of his. Ryan. He played. I remember he played here in Jersey in high school. He's a big safety, just not very athletic. This was never a big fan. Yeah, I mean, nah, I think you can find it back. I mean, I'd like to see Moss in year two. I just think, Singletary and Moss as a tandem is nice, but outside of finding a running back, you can luck into a running back. You can't. It's hard to luck into a quarterback. That's hard. I think fuck that. I think most teams luck into a quarterback and they just develop and you you kind of like, I think if the truth be told, a lot of those guys, they do their due diligence. They pick the guy they feel the best about and they cross their fingers and fucking pray. That's the way I feel, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I don't think any of us liked Allen. Now look at him. I mean, he didn't have a great game tonight. He can play better, but a lot better. And we know that. And I just don't feel like I feel like I don't feel like he got a lot of help tonight either. I just don't feel like he got a lot of help tonight. Trabsdale, D-line. I mean, they still need offensive line help. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to settle on anybody there. Dawkins, Morse maybe, but I'm not going to settle on anybody there either. Yeah, see, they lucked into him, Neil, 100%. Yeah, the O-line, I mean, they just but you can only block so many guys, and they were sending. I mean, there was at one point I think I saw 7. I mean, if maybe my eyes deceive me, but it was like a million red jerseys were back there, and it was like that. I was like, holy shit, he had no shot. It was on one of the sacks. I forget which quarter it was in. But man, that sucks. I mean, it's 11 o'clock, 11:11 last week. He hurt his knee in practice. It was just torn meniscus, but that was back in like week. It was between the bye. It was during the in between the Arizona and Chargers game. So getting him back next year, see what Antonio Williams is, see what Dane Jackson is. You get Tommy Sweeney back. Hopefully you get Starr back. So you add, the guys that are on your team already that you don't have to pay for that can help you next year. So I'm just gonna pencil those guys in. Say they're on the, I think Starr plays. So, Milano will be big in free agency. Let's see what happens with that. I mean, I think that they'll did any team blitz us as much as I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that they just blitzed the hell out of them. It was a jailbreak a lot of times. But I felt like if they would have had a running game, Allen could have, got a little bit better in terms of maybe throwing some of the quick stuff, ran a little bit more. You have to back him up. Yeah, they re-signed him. They re-signed Trey. They gave him the contracts last year, bro. At the beginning of the end, in between the start of the year and sometime in this, like the draft, they gave him the contract. So Trey's a bill for a long time. So he's locked up. They re-signed Poyer. He's locked up. So they just need. I think you just need to get some big bodies in the middle so the linebackers can play cleaner against the run. I think you need to see, what Dane Jackson is. I think he can be a number 2 corner. I think he's fine. I think he's tough. He's competitive. So I think we're fine there. You know, I'm confident in saying that. And Levi Wallace is good. He's very, very underrated. I didn't notice him at all tonight getting burned or cooked. You know, he made a couple of plays on the ball, like, you know, a couple of good tackles. So Levi is just, he's easy to dismiss, and he's a good player. But I think they, honestly, guys, I think they try to add more offense. As crazy as that sounds, I think they're going to try to add more offense. The best way they're going to see to help their defense, because of what happened tonight, because big games influence you. Big games influence you. They make you change. They make you construct your team different. And this is an extreme example, right? I remember for the Jets against the Chargers, Doug Bryan missed a kick. I think it was 2 field goals. Do you know what the Jets went and did? They went and drafted a kicker. I believe I think they drafted Mike. If they drafted Mike Nugent in the first round, I'll laugh, but I think it was a second. Let me see when they drafted him. They drafted him in the second round. But that's crazy to draft a kicker in the second round, right? Crazy. But they did that. Just like with Tampa Bay with, you know, oh, if we would have made some field goals, we would have been in the playoffs, and they drafted that Roberto Aguero. You know, so, I mean, I don't think they're going to be trying to draft no kickers that high, but they're definitely going to try to add some speed to this offense and you know, get a different dynamic going. That's what I think. Let me read some of the comments. I think Milano will definitely get offered Steve. He's a really good player. Sam Adams, Pat Williams, just one. We just need one. It's a different game now. Just a different game. Darrell Williams was terrible, but the rest of the offense didn't play great. Yeah, Darrell had a rough night, but all season he's been really, really good. You know, yeah, the passer was just rushing the passer was just, you know, it's more of a group effort sack team than a one-man wrecking crew sack team. And that's crazy to say because, yeah, Janikowski went round 1. Do I think we'll be able to sign? I think he'll resign. I think they'll get him done. I think if there's one player that they go and get in free agency, and they'll do the rest of the work with a trade, a draft, something. But I think that's one player that they'll keep. Plain and simple, the Bills need to score more. Yeah, they need to score more touchdowns, and they kicked field goals, and yep. And they just didn't do it. And that's why I'm saying, like, they need a guy that just adds a different dynamic to the team in terms of an offense. They have a lot of receivers. You know, Diggs is definitely Diggs was amazing. What a great ad. Broke all the records. You know, look at this Finn fan. How do you get bitch smacked by Josh Allen as much as you have and come into a Bills room and talk shit? And you don't even have a quarterback. You have an impersonator. You have a fraud. How about that? Imagine that. Now I'm going to talk shit. Think about that. You could have beat a team that played half their starters, and you couldn't do it. So you know what? I feel bad for you. I should just put you in timeout like a child, like a little kid, pat you on the ass, tell you to go stand in a corner. Want no part of them. Not a fan. Never liked them. I don't like assholes like that. Linebacker, corner. See, I like Dane. I don't know if you need. I think you draft a big body. I don't think Oliver's a defensive end. He's not. He's not long enough. His arms are too short. You know, I just think he needs to, you know, just get another year. You know, I think he could have a good year next year. You know, with he got so not having Jesus Christ, not having Star next to him hurt. Not having Star hurt. You know, not having Star, it hurt the whole defensive line. Phillips played better the second half of the year. Harrison Phillips played much better in the second half of the year. Ed Oliver in spurts played okay, but I think not having a guy like Starr next to him really, really hurt bad. Do I think Morse leaves? You never know, man. You never know with guys. A guy could up and retire. You have no clue. I mean, I would not. I just think he would lose some of his explosiveness, Hussein, and you don't want to take that away. Need another Kyle Williams in the fifth. Yeah, well, Trent Murphy's probably gone. He's a free agent now, so you're going to get his money. I think it's like $8 million, something like that. So Bean's going to work the cap. They're pretty smart. They're going to work the cap. I mean, they're going to try to maximize this window with Josh as much as possible. So, oh yeah, absolutely. They need a big dude next to Ed, because that's the way Ed gets off. Singles, beating, one-on-ones, being able to scrape, run and chase. He needs to do that. But if they can just double him and say, well, that's the one guy that can hurt us up the middle, we're just going to nail him with two people all game long. And he doesn't have a one technique or a zero technique to help him. Ed's a three technique. True. That's his position. He can't play any other position. AJ Klein, I mean, yeah, he'll be back. I mean, they have a good team, so they just need to learn from this game that, this is the best team in the AFC till proven otherwise, and they need to get something that matches what they faced tonight, which is speed. Speed, a guy who can kill you in the red. I mean, that quick hitter to Hardman's is so fast. Boom, he's in the end zone quick. Like last week with Diggs, just a simple pitch and catch. I was so pissed the Bills couldn't find a way to punch the ball in those 2 times they were down there inside the 5. Like, that just was so infuriating to me. And you leave 8 points on the board right there that just changes the complexion of the game. And the team plays looser when they can, they know that, like, hey, like, we're still in this thing. So, I mean, and everything outside of the botch snap from Harden, everything, like, KC could do no wrong. Everything went right for them. A tip pass went right to a defense. I mean, the one tip pass that they had, I remember Epinesa tips it, and fucking Taron Johnson overruns it and doesn't catch it. He hits Pringle, and the ball is like right. I mean, if he catches that ball and does anything with it on an interception, that changes the complexion of the game, man. It just kills you because you don't have this. This is the speed, man. Damage, that speed hurts, man. Biggest need, D-line, running back, corner. Same for the last 2 years. Devin's not the answer. He's a rotational guy, man. He's a third down guy. He's a rotational guy. He's not a bell cow. The league is not built of bell cow running backs. Now, if they find one that can, take the main load and be a guy, I mean, yeah, if Moss turns into that guy, but they need to get a little better there. Definitely. I'm not dismissing that at all. I just feel like I just think they're just missing a little something on offense in terms of speed. That's what I think. The speed is what changes it for me. And you saw it tonight, going across the field, just the threat of the deep stuff, guys playing off, Kelsey just finding those soft spots. That's what. He runs like a lead. Just, he's okay, but there's something about him I don't like. Yeah, he was hurt in college. I mean, they drafted him, so I mean they're gonna play him. I mean, they have him for 3 more years. So, I mean, when you have a controllable guy at a position like that, you're just gonna run with him and replace him. That's the way the running back position, at least right now for the Bills, is gonna be handled. Yeah, you can't substitute speed. The speed, especially skilled speed, and let's be real, they have skilled speed. Hardman's a pretty damn good player, but Hill is a freak. Hill is a freak show. There's no other way to slice it with that guy. He's a freak show. I mean, he's an Olympic track athlete that can play football. That's so rare. So rare. A lot of those guys don't want to get hit. They don't play well with contact. They don't know how to get off like that guy does. And he plays just as fast as he runs. How about getting nah, no thanks. No thanks. Using the Bills, do you play too timid? I felt there was some timidness tonight. I really did. And I hate saying that. I fucking hate saying that. I felt there was some timidness tonight. I just don't feel like they were loose. I don't feel like they just played. Even when they had the 9-0 lead, I felt like they thought they were playing with house money. I'm like, no, smack these fools. Just go out there and play. Go back and forth with them. Don't be fearful. Moss or Singletary home run hitters. We need one of those guys. I mean, yeah, again, if they find one, they find one. But I'm not into drafting running backs at this point. You got 2 young ones. You bring in an undrafted guy and you see what happens. Or you have Antonio Williams there and you see what happens. I don't have any loyalty to any of them. Just keep the best 3 guys. That's what you do. Keep the best 3. Top needs: playmaker, O-line, secondary. I would say big body in the middle of the defense, O-line, wide receiver, or some sort of dynamic playmaker. That's just the way of it. I mean, if you want me to list them in order: dynamic playmaker who will score touchdowns, fucking offensive line, and big body in the middle of the defense. So the ends can play freer, the linebackers can play freer, and Ed Oliver can play freer. Yeah, again, I think that I just don't like that. I know why they did it. I don't like why they did it. Like, I understand why I mean, let's see what happens with Knox next year. I think, they gave him so much burn this offseason. I mean, he scored, was it 5 touchdowns, 2 in the playoffs. He's pretty sure-handed in the playoffs. I mean, he's a good athlete. I saw him, he's a lot more. He's a better blocker than he was in his rookie year. So let's see what he comes out in year 3 and does. But I just feel like as a whole, the team just, if you're going to lose to KC, lose to KC. Let them blow you out of the building, but don't play back. Don't take a beta stance and expect an alpha result. That's all I'm going to say. And from a standpoint of not chucking the receivers, not getting hands on Kelsey, letting him run free. These receivers are fast. They can beat you. Yeah, you know that. But don't let them just get off the line with nobody touching them. You're gonna die 2 types of deaths. You're gonna die a slow death, or you're gonna die a quick one. But if you within that, ball bounce, a guy gets a contested catch. They're not big receivers. You can knock it down. Maybe one of your guys makes a play, intercepts it, whatever. Tip pass. Some things happen. I just wish they would have played more aggressive, a more aggressive style, more downhill style, not such an off ball style. I just did not like that. I know I'm not too old. I'm 42, but I'm old enough to say I'm tired of these maybe next year's seasons. I don't know how many more years I got left. We're young men, Hussein. Don't talk like that. And I know the feeling, bro. I know the feeling. Yeah, I mean, dude, Lopez, they had him. I mean, Milano has him, doesn't get him the ground, he makes a play. Epinesa has him, and that's another difference is those are 2 chances to get your defense off the field, get your offense back onto the field, and you don't close it. That kills you. It kills you. Dougie Masters, yeah, man, it fucking sucks. It's terrible, Flyboy. It's terrible. Both, Steve. Both. They lost in both. They lost because of talent. Yeah, he's a fat fuck, but he's a great play caller. He's a good coach. He gets that team ready, man. You don't last in a league this long. And, look at Andy Reid, man. You look how he started his career. He went to the NFC Championship how many times? Didn't make it. Went to the Super Bowl and didn't win it. And then several years later with another organization, you know, he ends up winning it. So you don't know how these things are going to go. It's tough, man, and that's going to be questioned a lot. I mean, should they have gone? Should they not have gone? Were they playing it close? I didn't hear any of the post game stuff. I didn't hear any of the explanations. So if you guys can tell me, I don't know if you guys watched. I didn't listen to any of the press conferences like I normally do, and I mean, I know what I watched. I know what we saw, and I just guess I'll go back and watch it later and see what they had to say for themselves. But I just think they just didn't want the game to get away. At that point, I think it was 24-15 where he kicked the one field goal everybody was upset about, and still you miss a PAT there. At that point, it's 16 into one-score game, and then it just gets totally out of hand. And then they don't have a chance to just kick field goals. And, you know, because I think that's what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to keep it to a one-score game, get a stop, and see what happens from there. But the offense wasn't staying on the field enough, and the defense wasn't doing enough to get stops. So that was just that was it. You know, I mean, yeah, week 6 it was the same thing. The offense was worse in week 6, crazy enough, but you can't kick field. I mean, this game was just field goals for touchdowns and getting sacks and not getting sacks and just those plays are huge. You know, I know the one to Milano was a third down. That was a third down play that would have been huge. Could have got the team off the field. The Epinesa play I know ended up being a big play to Hill because he was crossing the field and it just Mahomes started scrambling and it didn't matter. Yeah, I mean they're going to protect their players. They're going to protect their coaches. That's what they're going to do in these situations because they know how the media is going to come at them, and they just know it. But I'll listen to it later. I'll see what happens. What about McDermott didn't kick the extra point late in the game after we recovered the onside kick? Yeah, I think at that point you're playing with house money, just trying to recover on side kicks and win the game that way because that's what you have to do. I mean, you know, what's the law of averages that you were going to stop that team? You didn't stop them all night and then recover an onside kick. So you're playing with house money at that point. So then they got backed up because of a sack, had to kick a field goal. It was just, you know, that's just the nature of it, you know. Dave Watson, yeah, just not running, you know. You got to make teams fear the run a little bit more and not just the Allen scrambles. You got to make teams fear an actual running game a little bit more than a little bit more to make them either come up or back off, one or the other. Yeah, Singletary, that was a big play, man. That was a big play. That was a big play. Singletary dropping that pass. Do we trade Allen to get more first round picks? No. That's crazy. Why? Trade a quarterback to find that does no. There's 3 teams that don't trade their quarterback in this league. You know who they are? Well, Houston might have no choice, but I don't think Houston would want to. There's 3 teams who wouldn't go Wilson. I mean, shit. They talked about trade. I mean, they were like, well, if we trade him, there was just that little bit at the remember the 18 draft that Seattle said that they would trade Wilson to Cleveland, but they didn't. No, you don't trade Allen for no, you don't do that. That's crazy. You wouldn't trade him for Watson. I'm saying I think Allen, Watson, Herbert, Mahomes, maybe Burrow are the only guys. Those are the only guys. Like, I mean, everybody else, like even the older quarterbacks like Rodgers, I mean, he has a first round quarterback right there on his own roster. I mean, so if you realistically look at it, the only teams that would say no to trading their quarterback would be the Bills, the Chargers, the Chiefs, Probably Seattle, Bengals, Houston. If they can, he has a no trade clause, so I just don't think why. Yeah, you're being a little too, dude. Just being stupid. Yeah, you gotta go, dude. Like, maybe too much bong or whatever like that. I don't know. Just being stupid. I don't got no time for it, no patience. Like asking dumb questions, rhetorical questions. Yeah. Yeah, that was a rumor, Steve, so I'm just going by that rumor. But Peterman would have done so much better according to Corey, because he believes in him. Like Peterman would have won it. Nah, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. I just think they just need a little bit extra, just a little bit extra, that little bit of extra dynamic on offense. Allen got the experience. We tend to forget, Mahomes has been here before 3 straight times. This is the biggest game Allen's ever played in his life. Still a kid from Wyoming, a guy who transferred. He's still growing. He's still developing. He's still getting better. He's not a finished product, and I think that's the exciting part about him is that he's still getting better. If they hire him, Doug, they hire him, and you know what? I'll take that because if he takes I can never begrudge a guy for wanting a head coaching job. I can never do that. I can never say if Dable would have taken a job, I can't get mad at him. A fool at the bar would show up every week. Maybe it was Corey. I think Dable is a bad play caller. He needs a better OC, in my opinion. I wouldn't go that far, Matt. He's been pretty good all year. They fired him when they had Brody Coyle as their quarterback, and Damon Heward. When he was with the Dolphins, who was his quarterback? Cleo Lemon or somebody like that. In Cleveland, what was it? Colt McCoy, one of those guys. Josh Allen's the most talented quarterback he's ever. Outside of working with Brady, he wasn't the offensive coordinator, but in terms of calling plays, he's the most talented. Henny, maybe, I'm not sure, but it definitely wasn't anybody of the ilk of Josh Allen. So he'll be here for another year. Yeah, he didn't have anybody to work with in the past. Brody Croyle, and I know definitely he was the offensive coordinator for Brody Croyle and fucking Damon Heward in KC. That I know 100%. I watched the draft next to Chris Sims, and he told me personally, you can see me in the NBA Sports video telling him when the Giants drafted a QB the year we drafted Oliver. What did you tell him, Steve? You didn't say what you told him. Dable did good all year. Play calls in the red zone were not good today. Allen run. Yeah, I didn't see that. I just didn't like it. Yeah, I think Tyler Thigpen was a part of that too, dude. So yeah, former Bills backup. So yeah, everybody wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater right now, and I get that. I get that. I get the but that's why I say like we gotta trust. Yeah, they do get picks, but I like Frazier's been very good, and I know they made some mistakes tonight, and I know that it wasn't the best, but one thing that we've seen is they will learn from their mistakes and they'll change. and they will do what they can to get better. They will do what they can to not have this happen again. They're not going to rest on their laurels. They'll make changes. I won't say they will make sweeping changes, but they'll make changes. They'll, you know, they'll something different will be done in 2021 than was done in 2020. So the same result does not happen again. You know, this team is battle tested. They're playoff tested. They've been, you know, three playoff games. That's a lot of experience, guys. That's a lot of experience for this team. They had one last year. They had 1 in 17. You have guys on this team now that had, you know, Deion Dawkins has played in 5. Matt Milano's played in, you know, 4. Trey White's played in 5. So, you know, the whole, you know, both safeties have played. So they have guys. I mean, Jerry Hughes. So they have players that have been there. Allen has been the starting quarterback for 4 of those games. So, you know, it's just that's the standard now, and the standard is so much better than it used to be. And it's AFC Championship, Super Bowl or bust. That's what it is. Yeah, and there's no guarantees, but you're not going to not have the opportunity. You're going to have 16 opportunities. So we're going to have 16 opportunities just like we did this year, and we'll see what happens. I trust our team, our management, our coaching staff, and I trust our quarterback will go into this offseason and work his ass off to get as good as he can and to get even better, to work with Diggs, work with Beasley, work with Davis. He knows he has Davis now. He gets to have those reps with Davis that he didn't have. So, you know, work with Knox. So yeah, I think that yeah, there'll be changes, you know. But I think, you know, there's a lot of improvements going to come from within the building before it does the outside. You know, Tommy Sweeney hopefully gets back, and I think that guy could be a big part of the offense. I really think he could be a weapon for them. I can agree they're moving right direction. The culture built, experiences there now, and just gotta get back and get better. You know, you have a standard, and you know before then, they talked about having a standard. They would always say, "Got to get over the hump." They've gotten over the hump. They're on the hill. They've just got to plant the flag now. That's what they have to do. They're in plant the flag phase. Do we pay Allen? No, they're okay. Midway through next year, if he has another year like this, they're paying him. Beasley's a 31 years old. Hate to say it, I'm going. My aunt lives down there. She's old, and I have a few other relatives that are old that live outside of Tampa Bay. I'm gonna root for Tampa Bay. So the Super Bowl is canceled this year. Yeah, I can agree with you there. But if they win it for that old woman, I'll be happy for her, you know, so. He's rejuvenated, that's why. Yeah, it's sucks, man. I can't believe they played like that tonight. I just hated that. I just hated that because you know the talk is going to be for most of the week. It was just such a bad performance. It was a dud. They laid an egg out there. Let's just be honest. They laid an egg. Offensively, defensively, it was just a dud. They got gifted a turnover on special teams, and outside of that, the offense really couldn't. They couldn't do much, you know. Bills fans are grateful, you know. Best win in the regular season for me, beating the shit out of New England in New England. Making them feel what we felt for so long. You don't have a quarterback. You don't know when you're getting one. We have a young stud quarterback. Watch us beat the shit out of you. Watch us go for it, you know, miss, you know, let's fake punts, let's run up the, you know, all that. You were sick, man. I was sick. I just had a bad feeling, you know. Yeah, I couldn't bring him down when we had him. You know. Yeah, I mean they'll say that stuff, but then there's going to be the people that know, you know, be like, "Yo, this team is going to be back," and there's a lot more of those guys now than there was. There's a lot more of those guys now than there was. Let's just say that. You know, I think it's a combination of both, Neil. I don't think it's any one more than the other. I think it's a combination of both. Yeah, but that's out of reach now. Yeah, there's footage, but it's very grainy. I think somebody in the stands was filming it, to be honest with you. Well, you feel good, then it just it went down. That was actually nine. You mean nine? I didn't feel good. Actually, I didn't because you feel okay, but I mean, so far, I mean, look, I mean, come on. Yeah, they get the realization of going through what Bills fans go through every year. How late? I mean, tonight's different because of, the magnitude of the game. It's the last game, so I mean, I'm on later because of that. Generally, I'll do like a little over an hour. You know, Casey's, yeah, they've got talent across the board. I mean, my only one thing is maybe Hill slows down a little bit. Kelsey's getting up there. He's going to be 32, so maybe he. Okay, I might be on. Yeah, settling for the field goals is really what kills you. Maybe you see Pat Mahomes. Everybody's beatable. He's lost games, so you can't sit around and be scared of Patrick Mahomes. You can't sit around and be scared of what Justin Herbert could be. You don't sit around and be scared of Trevor Lawrence because that's a old tired mentality. That's a loser's mentality, and that's Bills don't have that anymore. You know, that's just old. That's stale. I don't like that. You guys don't like that. You don't want the team to have that mentality, right? So we shouldn't have that mentality either. Can we agree to a sucks? I didn't like what I saw. I'll just put it that way. I don't want to say he sucks. I mean, talk a little trash, but earlier because that kid was trolling, but I didn't like what I saw. How the fuck does KC have enough cap space to pay Mahomes $500 million? I mean, they have a lot of undrafted guys on their team. I know that. A few of their linemen, a lot of their linemen are just guys. And that's the frustrating part is you see their running backs are just guys. I mean, they have a lot of makeshift all over the place. And then Tyrann Mathieu goes there for a pretty cheap deal because they're winning and he wants to play for a winner. They hit on the Breeland deal pretty well. I mean, he was supposed to sign somewhere and then his deal got cut short and then he ended up going to KC. I think he was supposed to re-sign in Washington. It didn't work out. Yeah, they need to be scared of him. I mean, he didn't have his best game, but I think he's got a lot better games coming. You know, I think this tonight was just that type of game, Steve. I don't think it was anything. I don't think they're scared. I just think that the game got away. And once you've been there and done that, I mean, the '88 Bills had that with the Bengals, where it was just, could they have done it? They were 12. They had a 12-4 season out of nowhere, right? Back then, and then they fucking, they get into the playoffs, and it's a different animal, and the organization hadn't been there in a long time. That group of players hadn't been there in a long time, so, and they win their first game, and then they lose their next one to Cincinnati, and then the next year it's a similar thing. You have, you win. They actually lost. I'm sorry, divisional round to Cleveland, so they didn't even win a playoff game. This team, this will be if they make the playoffs next year because there's the extra playoff spot. That'll be their third year. Just that's just the way of it. So we'll see what happens. Andy Reid went through his growing pains. Everybody, I mean, if you want to call going to the playoffs and winning playoff games and losing in the conference championship growing pains, yeah, I'd rather have those kind of growing pains than 7-9, 6-10, no quarterback, no organization, just dysfunction junction. So I'd rather have that. I mean, he's gonna get commercials. I mean, I don't watch much TV outside of sports, so I don't really see him. I just see him during the games. Yeah, there was the 2 touchdowns like that, Aaron, and then the third one came. I don't know how quick it came, but yeah, that was just lightning fast, and that's why those 3-and-outs and not scoring touchdowns and kicking field goals, that's devastating. And people are going to be drunk and say crazy stuff and get mad at McDermott, and I get that, but gotta, I mean, even me, going off on stupid tangents earlier, gotta relax and just take a step back. Every commercial. I kind of noticed that during the game. The Chiefs are Khabib, the Bills are Justin Gagey. I mean, well, at least they're not like Conor McGregor, like who I couldn't stand. So I was happy to see what happened last night, to be honest with you. So wild card to AFC Championship that's a big jump, That the Super Bowl is another level, KC lost at home to New England because I believe the one guy they traded lined up offsides. So he lined up offsides, and that's what happened. It was a fumble, John, definitely. So we'll see what happens. But guys, thank you so much for staying on. I appreciate it. You guys make the room great. Thanks for listening to my bullshit, letting me go off on tangents sometimes. This just hurts. It hurts. I know you guys hurt too. I try not to lose my shit, earlier. It hurts, man. You're not going to get to see this team play. I mean, it's almost February, 7 months, 7 fucking months, over half a year. That just really fucking sucks. That's what I think about, man. It's like we don't, that's the realization. That's the thing I think about the most is like you're not going to see this team play for like 7 months. And I think my girlfriend, my friend Eric sent me a really cool message the other day. And he's a lawyer, so he talks about things in a different way and sees things in a different way than me, I guess, because he argues for a living, basically. He's legal language and basically they argue. And he said, football is not it's not just a game. People want to say it's no, people dedicate a lot of time, emotional energy, money, resources to this. It's not just a game. You feel this pain. You feel like, you put a lot into it. And that's what hurts, and you can imagine the players who put their bodies into it and their careers into it. And it must hurt them really, really bad. And, we hurt with them. They hurt with us. So I'm sure they wanted to go to the Super Bowl. It's, they just know it takes something that. Actually, I like that, John. I like that because if a team wants to trade up into the first round, the Bills can go back and pick up extra picks, and that's fine. That's a good spot to be in. You get better players. You can get a shot at more players like that. You can pick a good player there too. I mean, the Bills did it for years. John Fina, Thomas Smith, Jeff Burris, those guys were low first-round picks, and they were good players for the Bills. So you can find good players there, man. Hey, Christian, what's up, bro? I haven't seen you in a while, man. I know you're out, and I think you're in the Midwest, so it's hard for you to catch. Yeah, you can't always get what you want. They did, but you wanted to see that just one chance, man. You wanted to see them get that opportunity, and I felt like they matched up. I felt like they matched up against Tampa Bay, or I feel like they could have done something good against them, man. I felt like they could have matched up against you know everybody's gonna it's this Gronk would have lit. I wouldn't have. He didn't. He had a couple of junk ball catches against Tampa Bay, but he's not Travis Kelce anymore. He's definitely not that caliber of tight end anymore. Back in the day, yes, 3, 4, 5 years ago, not anymore. His body's not the same, man. What's up, Vols? Yeah, this really sucks, man. Yeah. I would have been worried more about Tanyan than if Green Bay would have won. If the Bills would have won, I would have been worried more about Tanyan than him, and then Devontae Adams, definitely. But that's neither here nor there now, right, guys? Fuck. I don't know, man. That's a crazy situation. They have a first-round quarterback, and then they have him. I mean, they're going to ride with him another year. I think we have our guy. I think we could all agree. I think we have our guy. So, I mean, last year it was, going into the season was questions about will Allen take a jump? And Allen took a big jump this year. He took a massive jump. And that's not a question anymore. The question is, can he maintain it? Or how can he improve on it? That's going to be the question now. That's awesome. That's a great question to have for a 24-year-old quarterback. How to build around him. Build time for more weapons. That's what I'd say. Time for more speed. Speed kills, and go get more speed, man. It was the best season a lot of you young cats have ever seen from the Bills. The best one I had seen in over 30 years. So it's really it really sucks that it had to come to an end tonight. He took a massive jump. I mean, in the Colts game, he was good. Last week, he was pretty. He did what he had to do last week. This game, it was the whole team, man. Just the receivers. I mean, the line, just everything. It was just everything. Hussein. It was really everything. I mean, I can pin it on him. Yeah, throws the ball, has the ball in his hand, but yeah, he's gonna have to figure that out. I mean, he'll figure that out. We've seen him improve on things, and he'll improve on them. He'll improve on them. Thanks, Damager. I appreciate that, man. You're a good dude, and I was wearing it no matter what, man. I'll still keep it on. Sent me some Bills Mafia bracelets. I appreciate that. Didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it, man. You're a good dude. All you guys are great guys. Guys who come in here, spend time in here. Thank you, because you don't have to do that shit. That's why I don't ask you for likes or subs or anything. You don't have to. Your time is enough. Your opinions matter. That's what matters. So yeah. No, I don't think I think he's done. John. I think morphine time. Yeah, I think there's a lot like Lee Smith. I think you have Tommy Sweeney, Reggie Gilliam's young. Maybe they add a veteran there. There'll be some changes on the roster. I think a guy like John Brown is going to be moved on from. Maybe they keep Stills. Sign him to one of those futures deals. We'll see. But all right, guys, you have a good night. It's going to be midnight on the East Coast here. It's 11:57, so it feels like the game just ended, but it still sucks, man. This is going to be a bummer for a long time. Love you all. Peace. Hopefully, man. Hopefully. I really do. I hope they can get back and be a double-digit win team, get into the playoffs. I don't care if it's home, on the road, whatever. Just get in and win. Love you all. Go Bills, man. Peace.